Hey pals, welcome back to Raising My Voice. My name is Mads. Today we're going to be talking about magic. I've been really excited to talk about magic, and I also feel like this is a great episode to record right now specifically. This platform is something that I have been called to create for quite some time. And the work that I plan on doing is something that my soul feels very, very called to do. Like, it's something that I'm really passionate about because I really do feel like it's my life's purpose to help people heal. And just to spread love and empathy and help create the shift that I want to see in the world. And I'm really, really excited. The further that I've gotten on this road, the more that I have felt just entirely divinely supported. I have been making a really solid effort to practice and look for magic a little bit more since the beginning of the year. That magic is kind of one of the first things that slips when my mental health and everything starts to slip. So I wanted to really focus on fostering magic in my life again and like looking for it actively and just being magic. For me, magic really aligns with my beliefs spirituality-wise. I wouldn't say that I'm religious. I do classify myself as spiritual, and that label took me quite some time. My biological father is super spiritual and like a really extremist version of spiritual, and has been the duration of him finding this path. And he really forced it on me when I was young, and I didn't believe in anything at that point. I was 10 and I hadn't been raised to believe in anything, so like I couldn't be bothered. And him like shoving it down my throat really pushed me to not explore that path for quite some time. But I did eventually start to get curious. I feel like later in my teens, around the time I was 17, 18, I started to kind of explore spirituality in my own way. I feel like it was at my absolute lowest, the time frame that we just talked about in the last episode, where I really needed something. And that's kind of when I leaned into spirituality. That's when I got really into like astrology. That's when I started buying tarot and oracle decks, and I got really into it. And I still am. So for me, my view on, I guess, a higher power is that it's just the universe, and that all of the universe is just energy. And I believe in souls, and I believe in ascension, and I believe in like twin flames and all of that jazz, and like reincarnation. But to me, magic fits just so well into my views of the universe. If everything is energy anyways, and if my soul is here to do specific things, then it makes sense that I work with my soul and with energy, and I do the things that my heart is called to do. And I feel like prior to even really opening myself up to spirituality, I feel like magic's something that has always been very present in my life. Whether I was actively paying attention to it or not, it's definitely something that has surrounded me my whole life. I am very sure that my grandmother was a witch, whether she was like actively practicing or not. She was entirely magic, that human. And it's really cool. I've been able to get some of her things since I have started to be more aware of magic. And all of the things that I have from my grandparents are very like astrological and witchy. And I love all of it. So they're very present in my house and in my life. And I think that that's honestly why my belief, or all of the beliefs, I guess, that I have are so strong. She passed when I was 15, maybe 16. No, I think it was before I had turned 16. And she's been around ever since. I wasn't overly aware at that point. But I remember weird things happening, specifically like when me and my mom would get in really big fights. She'd like move something of mine. I've had much larger and louder messages from her since I have opened myself up to that fully. Her and my grandfather, they are both very active in my lives. And it's really interesting because I have a best friend. They will be on the podcast as soon as I have another microphone. I'm sure that they'll be the first special guest, honestly. And Bree has known me since grade 9. My grandma passed halfway through grade 10. I don't really know. Time doesn't exist. But Bree met both of my grandparents. My grandpa didn't pass until right before COVID. So Bree knew my grandfather well, but she knew my grandma before grandma passed. So it's really interesting because Brianna also just gets communication from my grandparents in the coolest, most my grandparent ways in the whole world. And we'll dive a little bit more into them in a separate episode because I feel like they deserve their own episode. But they do make themselves known in very obvious and specific ways. And it's always just like loving, supportive energy. And it makes me cry every fucking time. I have a breakdown every goddamn time because my grandmother was my favorite person in the whole fucking world. And my safe space for all of my life until she passed. So losing her at 15 was really fucking hard. So feeling her energy is like so beautiful, but so overwhelming. And it's very cool. And it's very, very cool that I get to experience her presence still through magic and my beliefs. I said that I started with getting really into astrology. For anybody that's curious, my big 3 is a Cancer sun, Libra moon, Sagittarius rising. And I used to say that made me a sad, indecisive party hoe. And like it does. It does. But I think that my whole chart explains me very well. And I think that astrology is such a neat tool. And like, you can not believe if that's not your jam. That's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be everybody's jam. But I do think that it's really, really interesting if you give in to the belief and like look at the bigger picture. Like, I wouldn't recommend that you just read your sun sign horoscope all of the time. I have like 7 horoscope apps on my phone. One of them particularly is a trash app that just like gaslights their users, but I think that it's fucking hilarious and I read it every single day. So I don't take anything too seriously, but it is really neat when I look at my app's like pattern, which is very well known for just being scarily accurate. Because it uses your whole birth chart and it goes off of transits and stuff. So I think that it's very, very interesting when I have conversations or take action on certain things, or even just have the urge to do something in a day, and then being able to look at my pattern and my pattern telling me those things exactly. Me and Brianna had a conversation last weekend. I've been really burnt out, so we haven't been doing phone calls, which just leaves me to spiral in my own head. Brianna's very much my sounding board, especially when I have big things going on. And I have been thinking of a lot of life things. And Brianna and I ended up having like a 5.5-hour call and talking about almost all of it and coming to a lot of conclusions. They made me cry like 3 separate times on the phone call. And it was a great call. But I woke up the next morning and I was going through my horoscopes for the day. And I read through, there's always like a small blurb, and then you can hit go deeper on pattern. And then there's like 18 slides of just like 1 to 2 paragraphs. So I don't often read all of them, but I did read this whole one. And it just validated absolutely everything that Brie and I had talked about the night before. And it's very neat when the universe aligns like that. And now that I'm open, I've started writing down the number patterns that I see. It was so that I could like keep track of them and like, I don't know, look them up or keep track of what I see all of the time. I see all of them. I see all of them all of the time. I do work with numbers quite a bit. But the amount of number patterns that I see in a day, even when I'm not at work, even when I am just at home. A few of my friends and I really like to communicate by voice note on Snapchat. And for some, like the seconds of the voice notes, we can't even see them when we're recording. The seconds of the voice notes are almost always number patterns. And like my phone has been doing this really cool thing where I'll plug it in. And the percentage is the same as the minutes of the time, and then they just go up together for a little while. So because of the beliefs that I have in the universe, I have to believe that I am exactly where I am supposed to be on this path. And the universe has been really, really validating on this whole journey. Maybe even in an overwhelming way. Not maybe, definitely in an overwhelming way. I would say that the number patterns have started in the amount that they are right around the time that I decided to do the podcast. And like my readings are always just so bizarrely accurate. And they always kind of freak me out. And it's cool, like it's really, really neat for me to be on a path that I'm really passionate about and working on a project that I am really fucking excited about, and for the universe to just tell me that it supports me 100%. But that is what it's been screaming at me. And like, this is a big project that is kind of terrifying for somebody who has like pretty intense fucking social anxiety, and that like doesn't use their voice in this capacity super often. Like, this isn't something that I'm really used to outside of a relationship with Brianna or Michaela. Like, these aren't... I am an open and vulnerable human, and I really enjoy connecting with people. But we're going to get really deep here. And that's the whole point. But that's kind of terrifying. I have followed a tarot reader on, I think I follow her on Instagram. Maybe I follow her on Facebook. I don't really know. She pops up on my reels all of the time. And I followed her for quite some time. I had a reading done by her quite some time ago. I think that it was when I was with... We're going to call him Kyle for the sake of the podcast, and we'll get there, but like, it was 2 relationships ago. I think that it was during that time, and I don't remember what the reading had to say, but she does pop up on my reels, and every time she pops up, it's just scary accurate, and it speaks to my fucking soul. Her name is Colette. I think that everything is Colette Reads Tarot, and I will put a link to her pages, because she's phenomenal. But she has been posting longer videos on YouTube, and every time that she posts something about longer videos on YouTube, I always go to YouTube and I always watch whatever one calls to me. And this last one, I was in bed. I was just gonna watch maybe half of it really quickly, because it was like a 10-minute long video. I watched the whole thing, and I was sobbing by the end of it. And like, she got teary at some point too, and not in like any negative or heavy way. It was the reading was what was coming to the surface, and it was a whole reading about like healing and expressing yourself, but specifically being a light worker on this planet to heal. One of the things that she said that really hit me was like, and I don't remember exactly how she phrased it, but it was something about doing projects for the good of civilization, essentially, for out of love, and not for monetary benefit. And like, if I could do literally everything that I have planned in my career for free and still like live, I would. I have so many plans, and there are so many resources that I would like to be able to create. And I want them to be free as fuck for absolutely everybody. And if I could do that while also just surviving, I would. I absolutely would. I have zero intentions. I have thought about the future of this podcast, but this whole platform was created to be my safe space and to tell my story. So if there is ever a point where I'm making money off of it, it will be in authentic ways that align with my brand, and I won't ever make money off of something on this platform just to make money on this platform. And I also a large goal in creating this platform was to build a community. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. And with putting myself out there in this capacity, and like the universe has told me that this is how I get there, I know that there's people out there like me, and I know that there's people that are really fucking passionate about resources like this as well. And I am really excited for this platform to help me reach them. And then for me to do really fucking cool things with really cool like-minded people. So I've talked a little bit about signs, and I fully believe in signs. One thing, I just bought, this was the most recent Oracle deck that I bought, and it's called There Are No Coincidences. And I saw it and immediately knew that it was coming home with me, because that is something that I say all of the fucking time. And I don't mean that in a coincidences don't exist type of way. I mean it in they absolutely exist, but they are not random. And they're not just chances of fate. Those are very specific signs that happen for a reason. And even if that reason is just to tell you that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. I really don't believe in coincidences, but that, again, fits into my belief in magic and the universe very, very well. I do define myself as a witch. I don't have like a dedicated practice, and I'm not part of a group, I would say. Brie and I have started to kind of passively observe pagan holidays. But again, for the most part, what we're doing really just aligns with our beliefs. So we're going to celebrate spring, and we're going to do some gardening stuff and hang out, get rid of some of our stuff. And I like to kind of downplay my magic because it feels almost mundane to me at this point. And not that it doesn't exist, but I have kind of started to second guess it because it's so constant. And every time that I do start to second guess it, the universe definitely sends me a sign that's like, hey, it's not mundane and it's not real because it's happening so often. It's happening so often because I'm doing really cool fucking things that are really aligned with what my soul is here to do. So the witchcraft that I practice actively, daily, I do try to do readings every day. I have my two go-to decks right now are my Tattoo Tarot deck and my There Are No Coincidences Oracle deck. Sometimes I use my Prism Oracle deck. I've been trying to switch it up a little bit, and I think I'm going to try a little bit more actively. These are just the ones that have felt easy and accessible to me and that speak to me super clearly. And I have been trying to make things just really accessible in my life. But I think that I have built a fairly solid routine with incorporating magic, and I'm excited to see how that continues to blossom as I continue to pursue this. I feel like there will be more episodes with magic, and I am excited to share more magic stuff with you. You can find more magic on my Instagram or my Facebook. I'm going to post some stuff on TikTok as well, but I'm a little bit more active on Instagram. All of them are at Raising My Voice with Mads. Thanks for joining me. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, and I will talk a lot more about it. But I do want to invite you to define magic for yourself if that's something that you feel called to do. My magic is very specific, and so are my beliefs. And they are very tailored to what I've kind of always believed from the universe. So I encourage you to make magic your own if that's something that you're going to explore. I fully believe that there is no wrong way to do magic, and that it is just whatever feels right to you, and whatever is done with love and doesn't harm other people. Love you so much. Thanks for listening. Bye.